Hello, in this video let us discuss factoring trinomials in the form x squared plus bx plus c. Let's consider the following. Say we have to factor x squared minus 9x plus 20. Alright, so this is in the form of x squared plus bx plus c, wherein b is equal to negative 9, c is equal to 20. b is the coefficient of the linear term, c is the constant term. So how to factor this? Okay, this is the process. Let's take the constant term, which is 20, right here. And let us try to list all of the factors of 20. For example, 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is equal to 20. Also, negative values are included. So, negative 5 times negative 4. What else? 10 times 2. What else? Negative 10 times negative 2. And even 20 times 1. It's okay. So, negative 20 times negative 1. Now that we have all the factors of 20, let's determine which of them has a sum of b, or negative 9. So the factors that has a sum of negative 9 is negative 5, negative 4. Therefore, the factored form is the product of two binomials wherein the first terms are both x. And then these two values, negative 5 and negative 4, would be the second terms. So minus 5 and minus 4. And this is the factored form. Another example. Let us factor the quadratic trinomial x squared minus 8x plus 12. The factored form is the product of two binomials wherein the first terms are both x. The constant term of this trinomial is 12. So, let us list down all the factors of 12. 6 times 2 is equal to 12. Negative 6 times negative 2 is equal to 12. 4 times 3 is equal to 12. And negative 4 times negative 3 is equal to 12. Also 12 times 1, negative 12 times negative 1. And among these, which of them has a sum of negative 8? So the one that has a sum of negative 8 is negative 6 and negative 2. Therefore, we're going to write minus 6 here, minus 2. And this is your factored form. Another example. Say we have x squared minus 13x and then minus 48. Again, the factored form is the product of two binomials wherein first terms are x. The constant term is negative 48. So negative 48, and let's write down all the factors of negative 48. 2 times negative 24, or negative 2 times 24. What else? 16 times negative 3, negative 16 times 3, 12 times negative 4, negative 12 times 4. And among these factors, the one that has a sum of negative 13 is negative 16 and 3. Because negative 16 plus 3 is equal to negative 13. Therefore, we will write minus 16 and then plus 3. And that's the factored form. Another example, factor the quadratic trinomial x squared plus 11x and then plus 28. We have the product of two binomials, x here and x here. So, the constant term is positive 28. So, let's write 28. Write down all the factors of 28. So we have 7 times 4, negative 7 times negative 4, 14 times 2, negative 14 times negative 2. And among these factors, the one that has a sum of positive 11 is 7 and 4. Therefore, we have plus 7 and plus 4. And there you go. This is the factored form. How about this one? So x squared plus 11x and then say plus 24. The factored form, product of two binomials, x here, x here. The constant term is 24. Let's write down all the factors of 24. 12 times 2, negative 12 times negative 2, 6 times 4, negative 6 times negative 4, 8 times 3, negative 8 times negative 3, and the pair of factors that has a sum of positive 11 is 8 and 3 over here. Therefore, we have plus 8 here and then plus 3. And that's the factored form. Let us try a couple more. Say we have x squared plus 3x and then minus 28. The factored form is the product of two binomials, x here and x here. The constant term is negative 28, so negative 28. Let's write down all the factors. 7 times negative 4, negative 7 times 4, 14 times 2, negative 14 times 2, and the pair of factors that has a sum of positive 3 is 7 and negative 4. Therefore, we have plus 7 and minus 4. How about this one? Say we have y squared minus 16y and then plus 63. The factored form is the product of two binomials wherein the first terms are x. The constant term is 63. Let's write down all the factors of 63. 9 times 7, negative 9 times negative 7, 21 times 3, negative 21 times negative 3. And the factor pair that has a sum of negative 16 is negative 9 and negative 7. Which means we have minus 9 minus 7. Let's try one more. Let us factor x squared plus 12x plus 36. We have the product of two binomials, x here, x here. Now the constant term is 36. Let's write down all the factors of 36. 6 times 6, negative 6 times negative 6, 12 times 3, negative 12 times negative 3, and the factor pair that has a sum of positive 12 is 6 and 6 right here. Therefore, we have plus 6 and plus 6. And this is the factored form.